that I want someone who will just be my slave and just do what I say and just be my support, whose job it is to be my support. And of course that's the old position of the wife. Seisen Roshi's mother was an artist and was never able to work as an artist, and actually Bayan announced to everyone he really wasn't in love with her. He had a mistress, which is fine. It's Japan. It's fine to have a mistress. She never got to have a lover. And Roshi felt so much for her, and that she was never able to live her dream of being an artist. And I think that influenced our lineage very much. Roshi's mother, Seisen Roshi's mother, is a huge influence on us. But in the time and place, she just intuitively did what she was told. And many aspects of that relationship that weren't very happy for her. And then the other is true. Some of us are just looking for someone to tell us what to do. We want to be in a submissive relationship. And it's hard for us to find ourselves and find our true self and have our own dream. So, in a way, I think the the DS people, the dominant submissive people, in a way it's great that they make it into a game. And you say, okay, I'm going to be, and sometimes one person's the dominant one all the time, and sometimes they trade, but it's a game, and you set up what you're going to do, and what the guidelines are, and the safe word, and all of that. And in a way, it's kind of nice to play at that a little bit, I think, and not even necessarily sexually, but just to, okay, in this hour, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. And if it's too much, if it breaks my boundaries, I'll have a safe word. But basically, I'll do what you tell me to do. And then switch. And really play with power and get to know it, because we're so ignorant about it, or we pretend like we're ignorant about it, not noticing the power differentials that are going on. So bringing awareness to that. I was amazed. I shared this morning in council. Last night, I was so tired. I think it's age. But I reached this point in the evening where I just can't function. I just cannot make a decision, and I've just turned off. It's just time for bed. And two people were talking about that precept. Don't raise yourself and lower others. And it just felt like I'd never heard it before. I just had nothing to say about it. I just was like, but of course that's about power. And that kind of narcissistic view, which I think many spiritual people fall into, I think it is a trap. I see something no one else sees. I've had this experience, and the experience oftentimes is solitary, and oftentimes the initial experience is very solitary, and maybe, had some drugs or something like that involved in it. So a very private kind of thing. And the thought is, I see something no one else has ever seen. Yeah, Buddha saw something, but not like this. And we tend to then get into this very narcissistic view that I know something no one else knows, and I should be in charge of telling people how to do things because I have this superior understanding. So we're calling ourselves spiritual people. We're calling ourselves enlightened people, and we're creating that separation. No one else sees it as clearly as I do. Huge danger for us. And true enlightenment, of course. Buddha, when he got enlightened, Buddha said, above the heavens, below the earth. No, he didn't say that. That's what he said when he was born. When he got enlightened, he said, wonder of wonders, all beings have the wisdom and virtue of the Tathagata. So the awakening experience was each of us is this. I guess I alone am the world honored one. Maybe that's the more narcissistic one. That's what he said when he was born. Interesting. And yeah, when he was born, above the heavens, below the earth, I alone, the world honored one. So that sounds more narcissistic, but he means everything is me. Everything is me. Nothing is separate. But this, all beings have this wisdom and virtue of the Tathagata. So that initial opening is maybe the immature opening. Green, we call it, very green. And terrific. So the big openings are usually very green. Everyone is this. There's a shaman who told me, psychic told me about the crap table of life and the oneness table of life, and I use this a lot, so you've probably heard this, but she asked me, what table do you want to sit at? There's the crap table of life, which is all about winners and losers, and when we're at the crap table, we're just trying to win, and of course there can only be one winner, but that should be me, and there's that competition, anger, power fighting, and the oneness table is each of us brings something to this table. But to really see that, I think that's what got me stuck last night. Do I really see that? I really experience that as true. All beings have the wisdom and compassion of the Tathagata. Really experience that. So I think working on this desire and this precept is working on that, to really realize there is no up or down. And at the same time, of course, there is. But it's kind of like a game. It's more like a game when we play up and down. It's in the relative, which is constantly changing, and it should be constantly changing. So the main thing I wanted to talk about was the Doksan relationship, the teacher-student relationship, and it's kind of a game, a very important game, but initially teacher is the one with wisdom, and student goes to learn and to open up. There's that famous story where the someone comes to see a teacher, and the teacher's pouring the cup of tea and keeps pouring it, and it's overflowing the cup and everything. The student says, "What are you doing?" And the teacher says, "That's how you are. You're so full, you can't get anything. So empty your cup." And in any situation, any relationship, empty our cup, and that's listening from the heart. Totally 100% listen. My ideas, my fancy ideas and concepts and how I think everything should be, drop that. So let go. But then that teacher-student relationship is evolving. I say it's a game because, of course, we're all one. Of course, there's no differential. We play like there is, and as student opens up and practice develops, the differential becomes less and less. And transmission is when there's no differential. So to just come to the teacher, whatever you say is right, is not being a true student. So that's what I want to read Rinzai a little bit. I just love this. And Rinzai talks about power differential a lot. And he talks about guest and host. And it changes. So sometimes you're the host, and sometimes you're the guest. So when you come to my house, you have to only use my soap because I have gray water. And I get to decide that because it's my house. And when I go to your house, maybe we don't ever flush when it's yellow or whatever. You have your rules at your house, and it's just, that's how we do things. There's sometimes one's guest, sometimes another's guest, and it's moving, changing. It's not fixed. So there's guest and host in terms of teacher and student. And Rinzai says, followers of the way, in the view of the Chan school, dying and living proceed in proper order. Those engaged in study should pay strict attention to this. Thus, when host and guests greet one another, there will be an exchange of remarks. Perhaps one party will respond to something and assume a certain form, or perhaps perform some activity with his entire body. Perhaps try tricking the other by feigning delight or anger. Perhaps reveal half of his body.